Your Ford F-150 is equipped with factory settings and features designed by Ford engineers that are actively shortening the lifespan of your engine, your transmission, and your twin turbochargers. Most owners leave these features on, thinking they are completely harmless or even beneficial, because that is exactly how Ford's marketing department sold them to you. The reality from my service bay is entirely different. Today, I am exposing 5 factory settings that are causing hidden mechanical damage, waste, and severe efficiency drops without you ever seeing a dashboard warning light. Setting number 3 has caused more catastrophic engine teardowns in my shop than almost any other factor. And setting number 1 is so deceptive that millions of F-150 owners actually think it is protecting their powertrain when it is doing the exact opposite. Let's get into it. Setting number 5 is the factory-programmed 10,000-mile Intelligent Oil Life Monitor Interval. Ford markets this feature as a high-tech convenience that saves you time and reduces maintenance costs by calculating oil degradation based on operating conditions. They tell you that modern full synthetic 5W30 oil can easily go 10,000 miles before losing its effectiveness. But here is what Ford doesn't tell you. The 3.5-liter and 2.7-liter EcoBoost engines are direct injected and twin turbocharged. Direct injection inherently creates high levels of fuel dilution and blow-by, where raw gasoline and combustion soot blow past the piston rings and mix directly into your crankcase oil. When you run that oil up to 10,000 miles, the oil temperature inside the turbo center bearing section regularly exceeds 300 degrees Fahrenheit under boost. At that extreme temperature, the long-chain polymer molecules in the oil break down, and the oil thins out dramatically. I have pulled oil samples from EcoBoost trucks running these 10,000-mile intervals, and the fuel dilution frequently drops a 5W30 down to a 5W20 or even a 5W15 viscosity. That crucial pressurized film of oil floating between your turboshaft and the bearing housing is only 1/1000th of an inch thick, thinner than a single human hair. When the oil is degraded by fuel and packed with abrasive carbon soot at 9,000 miles, that film breaks down entirely. The turboshaft, spinning at over 150,000 revolutions per minute, makes metal-to-metal contact with the housing. This abrasive soot eventually accumulates and completely blocks the microscopic turbocharger oil intake screens. You are literally starving your turbos for protection and grinding your engine bearings to dust, all while your dashboard confidently tells you that your oil life is at 20%. The solution is simple. Completely ignore the Intelligent Oil Life Monitor. Change your oil every 5,000 miles maximum, and drop that down to 3,000 miles if you tow frequently or operate in extreme heat. A $60 oil change is the cheapest turbo insurance money can buy. Setting number 4 is one that Ford markets as an eco-friendly asset, but under real-world driving conditions. It is creating the exact environment that destroys your engine's top end. I am talking about the factory auto start-stop system. Ford tells you this feature saves fuel and reduces emissions by shutting the engine down every time you come to a complete stop at a red light or in traffic. What they omit is the severe mechanical toll this takes on your lubrication system, specifically your cam phasers and turbochargers. In a standard drive cycle without this system, your engine experiences 1 or 2 cold starts a day, which is when the majority of engine wear occurs because oil pressure has dropped to 0. With auto start-stop enabled in heavy city traffic, your engine can cycle on and off 30 to 40 times in a single commute. Every single time that engine shuts off at a stoplight, your oil pump stops spinning and oil pressure instantly drops to 0. The twin turbos, which were just spinning at high speeds and generating immense heat, suddenly lose their supply of cooling, pressurized oil. The stagnant oil, trapped inside the turbo bearing housing, sits there surrounded by hundreds of degrees of residual exhaust heat and literally bakes into a hard carbon deposit called coke. When the light turns green and the engine restarts, there is a distinct fraction of a second where the engine fires and the turbos begin to spin before the oil pump can fully repressurize the oil galleries. I have personally inspected rod bearings and cam phasers on trucks with high start-stop cycles, and the premature wear on the anti-friction coatings is undeniable. You are putting your engine through dozens of micro cold starts every single day, cooking your engine bearings and wearing out your timing components prematurely just to save a fraction of a gallon of fuel. The solution is to disable this setting every single time you turn the key. There is a physical button on your dashboard with a capital A inside a circle. Get into the habit of pressing it immediately after starting your truck. If you want a permanent fix, you can install an aftermarket auto-stop eliminator device behind the dash in less than 15 minutes. It safely plugs into the factory wiring and remembers your preference to keep the system off, protecting your powertrain without requiring you to push a button every single time you drive. Those first two factory settings are bad enough, but they are just the baseline for how these trucks are programmed to wear themselves out from the inside. Moving down our countdown, we are getting into the deeply buried settings that directly alter how your transmission and induction systems handle daily stress. Setting number 3 is the factory 10-speed transmission adaptive learning strategy, combined with the pre-programmed skip-shift schedule. Ford markets this as a sophisticated AI-driven feature that learns your personal driving habits to optimize shift smoothness and maximize fuel economy by skipping unnecessary gears. They want you to believe that shifting directly from first gear to third, and then from third to fifth under light acceleration is a sign of modern efficiency. But as a veteran technician who has pulled apart dozens of these 10R80 transmissions, I can tell you that this exact setting is a ticking time bomb for your drivetrain. Here is the hidden mechanical reality. To make the truck feel smooth and hit strict EPA mileage targets, the transmission control module is programmed to slip the internal clutches during these massive gear jumps to cushion the transition. When your truck skips second gear entirely and forces a direct shift from first to third while moving a 5,000-pound vehicle, it places immense load on the internal clutches and the torque converter clutch. Instead of a crisp, quick engagement, the clutches drag. This intentional, software-driven dragging creates extreme localized friction, raising the fluid temperature inside the clutch packs well past safe limits. Over thousands of miles, this continuous friction creates a fine, metallic debris that circulates through your transmission fluid. This debris travels straight into the main control valve body, sticking the highly sensitive solenoids and scoring the aluminum valve bores. I have personally inspected valve bodies where the bores were so badly grooved from debris that they could no longer hold hydraulic pressure, leading to the infamous harsh shifting gear banging, an eventual total transmission failure that costs upward of $7,000 to fix. Your truck isn't learning your driving style. Its software is actively burning up its own clutches to save a fraction of a mile per gallon. The solution to this hidden destruction requires bypassing the factory adaptive programming. You can temporarily stop the skip-shift behavior by driving the truck in TOW, hot haul mode, or sport mode, which forces the transmission control module to utilize every single gear in sequence, dropping clutch stress significantly. For a permanent fix, you can use an aftermarket tuning device or a software interface like FORScan to completely clear the adaptive shift tables and disable the skip-shift logic entirely. Forcing the transmission to use all 10 gears prevents clutch slippage, keeps your fluid clean, and adds years to the life of your transmission. Setting number 2 is the factory active grille shutter configuration, a feature Ford installed to aerodynamic wrap the front end and speed up engine warm-up times. Ford's marketing claim is that these motorized plastic slats behind your main grille close at highway speeds to reduce aerodynamic drag, and close during cold mornings to help the engine reach operating temperature faster, thereby reducing emissions. What they completely downplay is the catastrophic impact this setting has on underhood temperatures, specifically regarding your twin turbochargers and your ignition system. The EcoBoost is a massive heat factory. Those turbos glow cherry red when pulling a grade or accelerating onto a highway. Under normal conditions, a steady stream of ambient air through the grille is the only thing keeping that engine bay from becoming an oven. But because the factory software prioritizes a microscopic reduction in aerodynamic drag, it commands those grille shutters to stay completely closed during high-speed highway cruising, even when under-hood temperatures are skyrocketing. When you are cruising down the interstate at 70 miles per hour with the shutters shut, the ambient air is forced around the vehicle instead of through the radiator, intercooler, and engine bay. The heat radiating off the turbo housings becomes trapped. This intense, stagnant thermal energy cooks everything in its vicinity. It bakes the plastic valve covers until they become brittle and crack, causing oil leaks directly onto the hot exhaust manifolds. It degrades the insulation on your ignition coil boots, leading to microcracking and the chronic spark blowout or cylinder misfires that plague these engines under load. Most critically, it severely reduces the cooling efficiency of your engine coolant and transmission fluid lines that pass through the front clip. I have looked at live data monitors during midsummer highway runs, and the moment those factory shutters close, underhood air temperatures jump by as much as 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit in a matter of minutes. You are cooking your engine's vital support components and starving your cooling stacks of fresh air, all to achieve an unnoticeable aerodynamic benefit on paper. The solution to this engineering oversight costs absolutely nothing and takes less than 10 minutes. You do not need to buy an expensive kit. Simply crawl under the front bumper, locate the wiring harness leading to the active grille shutter actuator motor, and unplug it while the shutters are in the fully open position. Alternatively, you can physically pop the individual plastic shutter blades out of their tracks, leaving the actuator motor plugged in so the computer never throws a hidden code. By forcing that grille to stay permanently open, you guarantee a constant, uninhibited rush of cool air across your radiator, intercooler, and turbochargers, drastically dropping underhood temperatures and protecting your engine components from thermal degradation. We have unmasked 4 factory settings that are quietly draining the life out of your F-150, but none of them compare to the sheer mechanical deception of the final item on our list. This last setting is the ultimate illusion, engineered to keep you completely oblivious to the destruction happening right under your hood until it is far too late to fix it. Setting number 1. The most harmful, deceptive, and damaging factory setting on your Ford F-150 is the buffered, software-dampened factory instrument gauge cluster configuration, specifically your engine oil pressure and coolant temperature displays. Ford designs and programs these dashboard gauges to look like traditional, real-time mechanical instruments. They want you to believe that when you look at that needle or digital readout, you are seeing an accurate, fluid representation of what your engine's vital fluids are actually doing. But here is the terrifying mechanical reality from inside the service bay. Those gauges are nothing more than glorified idiot lights controlled by a computer algorithm. They are programmed to sit dead center in the normal range to prevent you from panicking, even when your engine is actively starved for oil or boiling its coolant. Take the oil pressure gauge, for example. On a true mechanical gauge, oil pressure fluctuates constantly based on engine speed and oil temperature. It drops at hot idle and sweeps upward as RPMs climb. Ford's factory software completely eliminates this real-time data. The sending unit on the engine block is a simple binary on-off switch, not a variable sensor. It is calibrated to close at a measly 5 to 7 psi. The moment your engine generates just 6 psi of pressure, the software commands the dashboard needle to sweep straight to the middle and stay perfectly still. To put that in perspective, 6 psi of oil pressure at hot idle or under load is a catastrophic emergency that will wipe out your crankshaft bearings, cam phasers, and turbo seals in a matter of minutes. Yet, your factory gauge will sit there smiling at you in the good zone, giving you a completely false sense of security while your engine eats itself alive from lack of lubrication. The coolant and transmission temperature gauges are heavily buffered by the software in the exact same way. The computer freezes the needles in the center of the gauge through a massive temperature window, often spanning from 180 degrees all the way up to 235 degrees Fahrenheit. By the time that software finally decides to unbuffer the gauge, flash a warning light, and move the needle into the red, Your engine has already been running at critical thermal limits for miles. I have torn down countless EcoBoost engines where the owner swore up and down that the truck never overheated and always had great oil pressure, only for me to find warped cylinder heads, melted piston skirts, and completely destroyed turbo bearings. They weren't lying. Their factory gauges lied to them. Ford programs this setting intentionally because they would rather protect their dealership service drives from concerned owners asking about normal fluid fluctuations than give you the transparent, real-time data you need to save your powertrain. The solution to this dangerous lack of information is to take the data stream back into your own hands. Do not rely on the factory dashboard needles to tell you the health of your engine. You need to install a high-quality aftermarket digital monitor, such as an Edge Insight CTS3, or use an old smartphone paired with an OBD2 Bluetooth adapter running an app like Torque Pro or Link MS. These devices tap directly into the raw, unbuffered sensor data stream from the powertrain control module, bypassing the dashboard's deceptive smoothing algorithms. This allows you to monitor your true, exact oil pressure calculations, precise cylinder head temperatures, and actual digital transmission fluid temperatures in real time. Seeing an instantaneous spike in temperature or a sudden drop in pressure gives you the vital window of opportunity to pull over and shut the truck down before a minor issue turns into a $10,000 engine replacement. When you look at the big picture, from the 10,000-mile oil monitor to the auto start-stop system, the adaptive skip shifting, the closed grille shutters, and the fake dashboard gauges, a clear pattern emerges. Your Ford F-150 is not failing because of bad luck or a fundamental design flaw in the metal itself. It is failing because the factory software settings are prioritizing corporate emissions credits, marketing gimmicks, and superficial consumer comfort over the raw mechanical longevity of the machine. The manufacturers build these trucks to survive just long enough to pass the factory warranty period, leaving you to hold the bag when the cumulative invisible damage finally surfaces as a catastrophic repair bill. But now you have the truth, and the truth is your greatest tool for saving money and keeping your truck on the road. You do not need a degree in mechanical engineering or thousands of dollars in specialized tools to protect your investment. Every single solution we covered today comes down to a simple, disciplined shift in your daily habits and an understanding of how your truck actually operates. Change your oil every 5,000 miles without exception. Disable the auto start-stop the moment you climb into the cab. Bypass the skip-shift logic by utilizing your drive modes. Open up those grille shutters to let your engine breathe. And get a real digital monitor on your dash to watch your true fluid metrics. If you want to keep learning the real, unfiltered mechanical facts that the factory service manuals downplay and the marketing departments hide, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. Drop a comment below and let me know how many of these factory settings are still enabled on your truck right now, or if you've already started taking steps to bypass them. Stop letting factory programming dictate the lifespan of your vehicle. Take control of your maintenance, protect your powertrain, and I will see you in the next shop breakdown.